What's up, everybody? Rob Ferretti here, Podcast 61. And what's good about Podcast 61? I don't know how to say it in Spanish. But we've got a special guest here tonight. We've got Glenn from Glenn's Car Collection.
Thank you, Rob.
So if you haven't checked out Glenn's
Pleasure to be here.
Car Collection on YouTube, Instagram, or Snapchat, you go ahead and do that. Also in the studio tonight, we have Adam LZ. You may know him better as Adam LZ on YouTube. Welcome. He's up here from the sunny state of Florida, but he's on a little U.S. tour right now, and he decided to stop in and say what's up.
Sweet.
What's up?
That's all for tonight. Thank you very much for coming out.
Watching.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to tip your waiters. Remember, the 7 o'clock show is completely different than the 5 o'clock show, so don't be strangers. But Adam, you want to tell us, you've been, I know you were just down here up here drifting in Englishtown, but where were you prior to that? I know you've been traveling around.
Yeah, so we were in Houston for a Lone Star drift event, and basically, rather than going home to Florida where nothing was really going on, I knew the East Coast Bash was going on at Englishtown, so it was just kind of a cool opportunity to keep doing stuff since my wife wasn't home anyway, so just go do more stuff.
Stuff is good.
Yeah.
And when that stuff involves drifting and making content, then it's a win-win.
Yeah,
Now,
and it's also really fun.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the funnest times I have are when my wife is traveling and I'm just sitting on my ass on the couch eating a pint of ice cream and not having to wake up till noon. Yeah, it's just it's just one of those things. But he's productive. He's the future here. So
he's making money. You're sitting home eating ice cream.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you were also telling me that your dad lives up in Connecticut. You grew up in Connecticut?
Yeah, so I grew up in kind of like Woodbury, Connecticut, and in Newtown, Connecticut. And I'm gonna go visit them while I'm up here. So
cool. And then you moved down to Florida when?
For freshman year of college, so probably like 5 years ago.
Okay. And when did you meet the now wife?
Like maybe a year into college, so probably known each other for like 5 years now, 4 years.
Cool.
Yeah.
And is she excited? You're taking her on a pretty cool trip this year, maybe 2.
Oh yeah, she's excited. Definitely overwhelmed though.
Yeah.
I will say. Yeah, there's a lot of trips.
I'm just talking about adventure drives, but tell me about the other trips, and then we'll get back to adventure drives.
Oh, I'd need to look at an itinerary, but I'm not allowed to pull my phone out because Jimbo will get mad.
Yes, that's correct.
And we can see Jimbo. There's Jimbo right there.
Yeah.
I'm in the frame, like you can see me. Not really.
Wave to
punching on me right
creeping.
now. We only
me.
had 3 chairs, so this is the 4th, which is a couch.
Wave to the audience, Jimbo.
Yeah. No, hello. No, they already can see me. I'm punched in right here.
He will always be on camera when Glenn's talking. So think about that. So stop picking your nose when Glenn's talking.
You got it.
So you have, where are you going? I know 2 places you're going because you're coming with us.
Yeah, so we have adventure drives and the trip to the Nürburgring. On top of that, I'm trying to fit a trip to Australia in there. I have my sister's wedding. I'm trying to drive as many of the.
Where's she getting married?
Somewhere in Connecticut.
That's not really
so
exciting.
it's nowhere far. It's just like a lot of back to back trips, and then I'm going out to California in like a week or 2, and it's just like every other week is something. So
cool. Where are you going in Cali?
I'm going to Anaheim to do like a little like drift exhibition thing with a couple friends.
Did you ever think about going? You don't drift professionally? You drift recreationally?
Correct.
Okay. And what's the difference between a professional drifter and where you're at?
I would say like the what you would normally classify as like a professional drifter would be someone that does FD, which would be like the X Games of drifting, or I don't know a better analogy, but the legitimate competition.
Sure. And what's the what level are you at?
I would be kind of like a grassroots amateur.
But are there prizes? Are you scored? Or are you just going out?
The Lone Star series that I'm doing because I really enjoy it because it like pushes me as a driver. But there is, I don't know, it's like car parts. Like maybe you could win a turbo or something like that. So like the Street Legal series, the winner goes to Japan and gets to drive a car there.
What do you get when you win Formula D? If you go out and win a weekend, what are you bringing home?
You're losing money.
Nice.
Really?
Like every other type of
No, but the first place check is $5,000.
If that.
Okay.
I don't know like enough to tell you the exact number, but I know it's not much.
It's interesting because there's some money coming in, but where does it go?
Yeah.
Now you have sponsors, you have attendance, and other than slinging your own merch at the events, I mean, it sucks. It's everybody dreams of being these. I'd love to be a drifter, blah blah.
Right.
But like, ultimately, if there's no money in it.
How long have you been drifting?
Maybe like 3 years.
And how long did it take before you consider yourself good? Like,
I feel like just like that's such like a cocky thing to say, but I feel like now I'm starting to feel like I'm good. Like I look at my driving and I'm like, wow, that's rad.
Which is how many drift events? Like how many times have you done it?
I drive an absurd amount.
Like
How many
100?
sets of tires?
Yeah.
Oh God, I don't know, a couple hundred.
That's a lot of sets of tires.
But is it like 100 drift events, 50? Like,
Probably somewhere. Let's see. If I've been doing it for about 3 years, and we'll say on average every other weekend, I'd say around 100 events.
wow.
Now, what is do you switch the rear tires as frequent? Obviously, more frequently than the front, or you do all four at once?
So it all depends on like the tire compound that you're running and everything.
Sure.
I have tires that last forever, like my Kenda KR20s. There's no sort of like affiliation there. Those are just the tires everyone uses that last forever. I can run a whole day on them.
Now, what's the tread wear rating on those?
Those are like
400.
Yeah, maybe around 400, and those will last like all day. And fronts, if you're running like an R comp in the front, you'll get maybe 10 events out of it, depending on how much you left the
that's
brake.
a lot.
So
that
you're
saves
just buying
money.
a bunch of rears.
That
Oh
saves
yeah,
money.
yeah. But like I have some other tires that are used Zestinos that are like R comp tires, like 240 tread wear, and I'll
Yeah.
go through 6 tires as compared to 2.
In one day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
sure.
But-
I did the Dream Car Sprint for a while, and that was one of the things I
did one of
noticed.
that. I
Yeah,
have with you.
yeah. I
Yeah.
just remember the tire compounds, and we could get like 2 weekends out of a set of tires if we had like a good higher tread wear rating. And the lower tread wear tires, they're
Oh,
better tires, but they blow through. You go
Right.
through a set of tires in half a day, and it's like, well, that sucks.
Yeah.
Now you're spending more on the tires, and they're lasting half as long.
Usually the low tread wears, like I had AD08s, I had a Lotus
Mm-hmm.
Exige, I had autocross. You know, they need to be warm too. So if you
Yeah.
have people who are inexperienced, you know what I mean? The slip angle on those tires are a lot greater.
You'll see, and with when you really get to cycle through tires, some of them start chunking, and like big chunks come
Yeah.
off as
Usually
they
that's
go along.
understeer a lot of it.
Well,
sometimes.
no, but I
Yeah.
mean, in
Some
an
tires just don't like
autocross,
heat cycle that well.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's like as a comparison, I run Nitto NTO5s in the front.
sure.
I've tried Federal's RSR in the front that a lot of people run. The Federals, like they look like all gooey
Yeah.
and like nibbled up, and the same treadwear NTO5s still look like tires.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I've seen some like the tread starts coming apart. I mean,
Yeah.
it's you see some shitty stuff when you go start cycling through tires, but you can only see so much on Tire Rack.
Right.
And you know, it's funny. I probably could have provided some valuable like feedback on Tire Rack, but I never did because
Right.
I don't leave the reviews. It's not like
Wait, even like Skip Barber Racing School, they were having that problem with our compound tires. They went back to like street tires just because they, you know, it was easier for the novice, and obviously they save money. That's
Sure.
probably the real reason. They
yeah.
save money because you know, the tires would last a lot longer. So it's weird you go to a Skip Barber Racing School and you're running street tires.
Yeah. Did you go to Palm Springs last January?
No, I did not.
You did not. Wow.
I heard it was fun though.
It was fun. It was a
Yeah.
lot of fun. It was cool to be able to get on those PS4S tires, which
well, we got to use them though at the Mission.
no, those are the Cup tires we used.
No, I did another thing with them, not the Palm Springs.
Oh, you
one.
went to the one at Sebring.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are
Yeah.
great tires for a street tire. It grips
Yeah.
like almost like a track tire from 10 years ago, but it's a hell of a lot of grip, wet and dry.
Yeah, they're better than the Cup 2s in the wet.
Yeah. In the wet, yeah.
Yeah.
The Cup 2s. I mean, Michelin provided the tires for the event, so I didn't want to say the Cup 2s were no good in the rain. They're not good in the rain. They're meant as a dry weather
They're not
tire.
supposed to be good in the rain.
They've got tread to get you
Home.
like without crashing, but you can't push them. They've got like terrible performance in the wet, as it was evidenced from people looping out, such as myself, at 30 miles an hour. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Even David looped out. Like a bunch of
Yeah.
people looped out.
As they wear, they really hydroplane.
Yeah.
You know, as they wear.
Well, these
yeah.
are we were all on
Yeah.
new sets. But I mean, we didn't really. The only heat cycle I did on those was driving it on a half mile, which isn't really a heat cycle
No.
on a tire. But I don't know. We had a lot of fun. January, Adam, if you guys don't know, won the January challenge, the Project Car Challenge, which was no small feat because I mean, even cars like David Patterson's car, it's like, oh yeah, he didn't do very well. He's got a quick car. I mean, he's
Yeah.
got a 2JZ car that, what was it, like I would say probably 2,800 pounds, 2,900 pounds.
Yeah, about that, probably a
And
little less.
yeah, and it's like a well sorted car in that it doesn't. I mean, he does overheat after a while because I mean you got the giant engine stuffed in the little engine bay, but ultimately he's got a car that it's got engine, it's got a decent enough set of brakes, and it's tuned to turn. So I mean, he's got everything going for him. It's not a slouch in any way, shape, or form. It could put down a decent lap time. And then you had Garrett's car, my car. You had I mean, obviously the minivan you were gonna beat, but it wasn't a cakewalk. So he actually had to earn it, and it was pretty cool. Because I know even you said you had your troubles with your car that you were fighting.
No, it was running probably 200 horsepower less than it should have been.
Yeah.
The whole time.
The whole time?
Yeah.
Don't tell me that.
Yeah.
Bullshit. At least I was faster than you around.
Yeah.
What should have the horsepower been? I mean, what
It should have been around 750, and it was probably
So you run
closer to
about
like
five?
high 500s.
Wow.
Yeah.
So they're all fast cars, right? So you won because of consistency, or
Well, Garrett
Right.
was running. I mean, you got to figure 750 horsepower on what's his curb weight on this car?
No idea.
Yeah, it's less than 3,000 pounds.
Right, it's a
even
light
with
car.
his roll cage, he's got no body panels.
Yep.
So he was definitely the best power to weight ratio, and we're all on the same tires. That's essentially the idea behind everybody going on the same tires.
right?
But even my car, he was with him driving, was very close to my car, and I only got 2 laps in. But I was like 115, and I think he was like 115, 116 too. So and again, like we're talking, my car is a actual race car with a race car driver in it,
Yeah.
and he's got a car with air conditioning,
Wow.
full stereo system. Like
I think I did 113 after the recorded laps because I remember I got 2 seconds faster than like.
you were 117, you came down to like one.
Oh, okay.
I have I trust me, I painstakingly had to go through all this data. Hey Jim, is that leg gonna fall off the table there?
Oh boy.
Should I move it, Jimbo?
Don't touch it.
Let
It'll get mad.
Jimbo
Do we
do
have
it.
a leg that's about to fall? Oh, we do. That's a good one.
That
I got it.
looks like
boy,
$4,000
That's a
camera
good
on the
one.
floor.
All right, yeah. Glenn, why don't you just give
Move
that a
it,
good
just
nudge
touch it.
right there?
All
Just,
right.
give
Just
a little,
just
give
a little
tap,
tweak.
little love tap.
Why does the foot that's on the edge
I
of
don't
the
know
table
if he's
not
at-
have the rubber?
Is he still in front?
Ask Rob. Actually, no, that is my fault. But the better question is why is it missing the beginning?
I don't know.
But
It's an
I'll
excellent
fix
question.
it. Don't worry, I'll fix it.
All right, so we'll
It's
get
good.
back to that in a second.
Keep an eye on it.
But yeah, I mean, ultimately, your car, even in the half mile, was close. It was like what was the traps?
No idea. I don't
It was
remember.
150 something. I think it was 153 because David was 151, and you had him by 2 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And then
I wish I could have had a bigger tire on the car. I was kind of limited by like what I could fit in the rear. So I
yeah, you were
spun
what a
lot.
280. No, everybody spun.
Yeah.
There was no traction.
But
No
I, think,
matter.
I want to say I was on like a 255 or 265.
Yeah, Garrett, I know, put his actual full like tall tire slicks on
Oh, he
to
did?
go down. Yeah, and it ran the same thing.
Oh wow.
It just the track there was not conducive to hooking,
Got it.
and that's why everybody was spinning down the track. But it was fun. I mean, running a half mile is more fun than running a quarter mile. But it was that Jimbo.
That was me hitting a button. No worries.
Cool. But ultimately, it was a good time. Daytona was terrifying.
Did you
Especially
go on the banking or no?
we did go on the banking,
Yeah.
but like it was comical. Like it was. You're talking. We had the track for 3 hours, and they were very strict about that. Like 3 hours, you're done. It started raining the second we were to go on the track, and it stopped raining the second,
Second you were
they blew the
done.
whistle. When I say it stopped raining, like the skies, like the light was shining on the track. It was dry in 10 minutes. I'm like,
Wow.
good God, man, this is like, what are the odds? Because that was what I was most excited to drive was that track, and that's where I think my car would have performed the best.
Yeah.
Because all I have to do is run hard for a couple of minutes.
Right.
A warm-up lap, a hot lap, I can easily do that. My car doesn't really start to give me issues until like 7 or 8 minutes of like full-blown full throttle.
Right. So 20-minute session. on the
20 minutes.
track,
I knew I wasn't going to do that well in the 20, but I knew if I did well in the half mile and did well at Daytona, I would have a good chance to just do okay at Sebring, and I would have possibly been able to go to Nürburgring.
So you could do real well if it was like a time trial where you have 2 laps and they take your best
Time
lap or
attack,
something.
yeah, time attack is good, or just like pick the fastest lap. I mean, my car does put down fast laps.
Right.
It just didn't. It doesn't have the endurance. It's like a jackrabbit. So right now, I mean, that's why it's down at LG. It's a heavyweight. Like a heavyweight's not going to have the stamina of a featherweight. But ultimately, it does put down fast laps. And I guess probably one of the most telling things, I mean, we normally in Vegas, we did the benchmark car. We took a GT3 around the track. And I was 2 seconds faster than the GT3 with Justin driving both of them.
Wow.
And 2 seconds on a 55-second lap.
That's a lot.
By the GT3. That's a good margin. That's and a GT3 is like one of the better performance cars that are out there, or at least better track cars that are out there. So I mean,
best.
It's the best. It's an awesome car. But that's saying something about the capabilities of the car.
Yeah.
And even the only car we had as a benchmark that was consistently awesome was Lou's car. And Lou's car was out there putting down one high 113s, like 114 I would say is his average, 113.8 or something like that. But if there was like, this is how it's done, Lou showed us all what was up. Because it was like, how many laps? I'm like, oh, Lou, we're just taking the best 10 laps of the 20 minutes. Goes down, puts down 10 laps. We checker them. Every lap was within like a half a second of the of all the other laps clustered together. He's a professional.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
he went out there. Car didn't bat an eye. Even Adam's car I think did better than most. But even Adam Garrett, they both had to like take cool down laps. So you'd see like quick lap, 40 seconds slower on the next lap, then quick lap. So like nobody really had that race car that like Lou was able to just be like, what do you need, 10? Okay, I can do 10. Just drop me a checker when you need me to come in. And it would be nice. That's why my car's over at Lou's right now. I'm like, make my car, because it's already quick.
Yeah.
Make my car do that. But we had that benchmark as to how fast the car is. Now, I want you to keep in mind that Lou's car is a brand new Z06, which is a badass car to begin with. And then it's fully modified by a guy who's been racing cars for 40 years.
Right. For
So
cooling. Yeah.
for us to be anywhere near that car, and I mean, a second and a half off, even if it was a second and a half or a second off, we have fast cars. Because you can't say, and Lou was running E85, and he was running 730 wheel horsepower. So for us to be anywhere near that time is very, very impressive, and shows you how capable the cars are when we do get them dialed in. So I'm excited. I'm expecting. I think obviously at the Nürburgring, Lou is going to do better than both of us, but I don't think either of us care. And I say the both of us because I'm thinking about potentially sending my car out there, not because I'm trying to steal any thunder or do anything like that, just because I don't see this opportunity presenting itself of us having like Nürburgring time. And I'm just genuinely curious, like what my car would do.
Right.
You'll never find a reason to do it again, though.
I mean, I'll come up with a reason.
It's
I
an
never
excuse
thought
to
I'd
do
go
it.
to. I
It's
never
an
thought I'd go to
excuse.
Oktoberfest again. I went there like 8 months ago. I'm going back
True.
this year. So, like, it's just one of those things that you like. I feel like I'd kick myself if I didn't send my car.
Just do it.
And I
you
think
drove the Nürburgring before, right?
I did. I rented a BMW race car.
Okay, I was going to say, what'd you drive on the track?
I drove 3 laps around the Nürburgring, and I'll tell you what, it's intimidating as shit.
Yeah,
I can imagine.
I've heard.
Because there's all other cars out there with you, right?
But like, I'm not a video game guy, so I don't like have 1,000 hours of video game time.
Yeah.
I don't know what turn is coming up. I had the guy in the passenger seat shouting like, "All right, you can go flat here." I'm like, "Are you sure this is the right part where I can go flat? Because like I can't see
Doesn't
around
look
this
like
bend."
that.
Yeah, like, but it's just like I can't see around the bend. I got to trust that he
Yeah.
knows. And like the videos that I know of the Nürburgring are like guys flying around a corner into a bunch of parked cars because somebody wrecked out into a wall.
Yeah.
So
Don't
you
follow
have
the
that.
guy in front of you.
Yeah, you have that looming over your head, and then you have people dive bombing in turns because they don't know what they're doing. They're
Yeah.
dry. Like it's
The skill level must be so different.
I
on the
sort of
track at one time.
yeah, I sort of did that to Matt Farah's guy driving his Volvo, who was giving him a rip around the ring, and I was coming in on the turn. He was just coming so much faster than me. I sort of like, whoa, like sorry about that, like my
Yeah.
bad. But I mean, I could have stayed well offline through that turn. But I'm just trying to learn the track here. I'm listening to this guy, and I almost in my head, I'm the only guy out here. And I check my mirrors, and I see what's in front of me. But like this guy came flying out of nowhere. I was like,
Wow.
oh, shit.
Now, when you rent a car, they give you somebody like an instructor with you
I
for the track?
had Dale Lomas, who's from Rent for Ring. But when we go out this time, if we want to rent cars, we've got Misha Sheridan, who's got a YouTube channel. He lives at the Nürburgring. also has a rental company, and we're going to be going with him for taxi laps. He's the one who's making most of this stuff happen out there, as far as the spa, going to spa, which is going to be awesome. Spa, I can't get out of my head that one.
Eau Rouge.
What's that one fast turn?
Yeah, Eau Rouge. Where you the elevation, you go up.
Something like
Yeah,
it's that
Eau
one
Rouge,
turn
it's
you
called,
see.
yeah.
You always see it from the right, and the
Yeah.
cars just are ripping.
Yeah.
And I'm just excited to do that. I think Spa's like we're flying into Belgium,
Oh, cool.
so we're gonna fly into Brussels, which is an hour and a half from Spa, and 3 hours from the Nürburgring. Frankfurt is like an hour and a half from the Nürburgring, but 3 hours from Spa. So it's like the flights into Brussels were much cheaper than Frankfurt, and I've just never been to Brussels, so it's like let's go to Brussels.
Cool.
But I got my flight round trip, $590.
Yeah.
For an international flight, that's cheap as shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
So I was excited about that. But I'm excited. We're going to Spa for the 1st and the 2nd of October. Then we're going to Oktoberfest in Munich, and then we're going to be bombing down the Autobahn to go from Belgium to the to Munich is probably 4 hours, 3 hours. But on the Autobahn, we could be doing 180 miles an hour for a good chunk of that.
Cool.
So that'll be a good time. And then we're going to come back and go to the Nürburgring, and we're at the Nürburgring for like 5 days.
Wow.
And there's a couple things. There's a drift event at the Nürburgring. There's taxi laps. There's a public day. There's there's actual, I don't know which race, but there is a race there as well. And then we have our private track day.
Sweet.
So I am looking forward to that. It's going to be a good like car guy trip. And if we really get froggy and we want to skip one of the days and go up to Koenigsegg, we can bomb right up to Engelholm. That's within shouting distance. I mean, it's like probably 6 hours or 7 hours each way, but like we can go up for the night, stay in Copenhagen on the way back, and be back the next day for like we don't need 5 days of Nürburgring.
Yeah.
But
Now you're driving your Corvette at Spa in the Nürburgring.
I'll probably but I'm probably gonna have a rental car
Okay.
because I'm not gonna. I can't drive that thing for 8 hours.
Do you think I should do that?
What's
Like,
that?
I don't know if I should like try driving my car around Germany or if I should just like play it
You
safe.
should definitely like rip it around the Autobahn. It's worth doing, but
You know what I'm saying?
yeah, I do you want to daily drive it for?
Well,
a
I
week?
don't mind drive. Like I would love to. It's just like it's gonna suck if it breaks on the side of the
Yeah,
road.
but that's my point. Like
Yeah.
you don't want to daily drive it because you're going to lose the ability to do what you're there to do.
Yeah.
And what we're there to do is essentially the last day we're there, the first and last day. So if we break it on the first day, not really a big deal. If we break it on the last day, on the last day, not a big deal. But we have time to especially in Bavaria, you've got a good opportunity to try to fix your car, but it's modified.
Yeah.
So a lot to think about.
Car guy problems.
Car guy problems. But you know what? I can probably get us press cars too if we wanted to
I would love a GT3.
hook that up.
to
I don't know if we
drive
can get a GT3. They're tough.
around. Really?
I tried to get one last time, but I know BMW is awesome about
yeah,
that.
I'd like a little M4 or something.
Yeah, they gave us like an M6 and then a camera car once, and it was cool. Like we're like, yeah, we're gonna keep them for like 5 days and do like 2,000 miles. Like whatever. We're like,
That's
all right,
great.
cool.
That'd be great.
So yeah,
do
that
that.
was a good time. And but we had to get those in Munich. That's the problem. We have to get them and return them in Munich. It's also very cheap to rent cars like that over there. So we can easily go rent like an M3 or an M4 for the week is probably like $600.
Wow.
So
Why is it so cheap?
it's just what it is. I
Yeah.
mean, I rented an M6 last time I was there, and I think it was like 1,500 euros for 8 days, and like I forget what we did, like 2,500 kilometers, which is like 1,500 miles. So 1,500 euros with insurance, it was a no brainer.
Wow.
But I enjoyed that, and I discovered the M button like 3 days into the
Uh-huh.
trip. So I was like, hey, you push
Well,
the
the
M button?
M is programmable, so it doesn't necessarily mean it's
There was
most
like
aggressive.
two
Right,
levels
they're
of
both
M.
programmable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was like noticeably like throttle. They think they just make it like jerk forward when you push
Yeah, it's
that
like
button.
Sport Plus mode or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah, depends what they set it at, but
Yeah,
some people do a comfort.
I don't
and one and
think I
Sport
think they
Plus.
keep it factory when you get it through the rental company.
Yeah,
I don't think any weenies getting in and be like, let me program this. Like,
probably not.
That
Probably nobody else discovered
yeah,
it either.
that they're gonna be in the car for a couple of days.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, but it was exciting. So yeah, that's gonna come up in October.
Cool.
That's gonna be a good time. Glenn's not coming on that one.
Is that an Adventure Drive? Still?
No, Adventure Drives
Oh.
is coming
It's
up
in July.
in
But
July.
what's the October trip?
That's That's just
that's just you guys.
that's
Yeah,
us.
yeah.
I mean, it's open to like a small faction of people. It's the people that attended the Project Car Challenge. And then I've got like my top level Patreon guys that I'm like,
Cool.
you guys can join if you want. But ultimately, it's going to be like a pretty low key. I think we'll make the locations we're going to be at available to people. So if you want to come out and say what's up, you're more than welcome to do that. But we don't make it where you can tag along. Like, and then people are like, oh, tell me what hotels you're booking. Like,
Yeah.
it's not like that. If you're like, again, if you're like in with somebody or you're friends with Adam or something like that, we don't mind you. But it's just really difficult for us to go to dinner with 26 people every night.
Right.
I think we've got Tommy's definitely coming. Patterson's definitely coming. Amelia Hartford's coming. Garrett's technically a no at the moment, but we'll see if his schedule clears up. Justin's gonna let me know. Lou's obviously coming. And then, I don't know. We're gonna have a good time. Misha's out there. Amelia was just at the Nürburgring for the 24-hour race.
Oh, cool.
She was with the Scuderia Glickenhaus car. But it was interesting to watch. I was like, I don't watch people's videos, but when I'm like, oh, I want to see what she thought of the Nürburgring, I watched her whole like 3 or 4 videos, and it's cool to watch the editing and the perspectives from other people going through stuff that you've been to or you know what it's like. So
Sweet.
Adventure Drive's coming up in July. Have you been to any of the places we're going?
I don't think I've been to any of them.
That's pretty cool. There's some cool places we're going. I'm excited for that. So there's a good group of cars. There's Lambos, Viper ACRs, Ferraris. I'm bringing my NSX probably. Maybe I may bring. I'm buying an AMG GTS this week.
Cool car.
So I may bring
So
that.
casual.
I'm
That's a
also
good
getting
car.
a Rolls-Royce Dawn.
Nice.
But I'm not going to drive that.
I drove the AMG GTR on the track. That was awesome.
Yeah, I think the
Up in
GTS is more.
Monticello.
I feel like the GTR may be a
The
little
R
bit.
is really a track car.
It is, and
yeah.
and that's what I was going to say. It's like the Viper ACR. It's just, you lose the
It's pretty hardcore.
Yeah, you lose. I mean, yes, it can kill it on the track, but you lose that streetability, and that's a big thing, and you don't realize that until you lose it.
And what's that going to be? Just a daily driver or just a fun car?
No, I'm actually going to rent it out, but I'm
okay.
I'm in the process of compiling a couple of cars that I'm going to rent out, but they're my cars.
Cool.
Should I rent a car for that, or should I bring my BMW
Your BMW would be nice
until it breaks?
until it breaks. If you're concerned about that with the elevations and everything like that, because Telluride's way up there, you can rent a car. That's definitely an option. But yeah, I mean that's. It really depends. It's between you and your wife. You got to figure out what you'd like to drive and what you want a convertible. Do you not want a convertible? You want it's completely up to you.
Good to know.
But a lot of people in Europe we all rented, except for one person, and then in the U.S. a lot of people ship because they like to drive their own car.
Yeah.
So either way, we'll hook it up and you'll have a good time.
Cool.
But the places we're going, $1 Million Highway. Vail. I mean, I love driving through Colorado, but I love the scenery changes going from mountains and all of that through the deserts. And we're going to like some awesome places. Monument Valley, you see in a bunch of commercials. Lower Antelope Canyon, Horseshoe Bend. These are the places that you see like in photographs on on walls and website backdrops.
Wow.
Then we're going to Sedona, which is great. Vegas, obviously, Yosemite, Napa, all places that people will fly from around the world to go see. But we'll be back to this in a second. Time to take a quick break and thank our sponsors for making this all happen. And we will catch you guys in 1 second. All right, and if those of you guys at home are not familiar yet, David Patterson, good friend of the channel, has his new car care line. And he's got Patterson car care products that you can get. The trick, I love to see through and see what the trick is. He's got high quality stuff that costs the same as everybody else's stuff, right? But he gives you twice as much. So you're getting a gallon versus a half gallon for the same price as everybody else selling you the half gallon. Now that's cool. Support David. Go check it out. We'll put a link in the description. But David, good friend, and I've heard only good things about his product. And you try it out and you let me know what you think. So there's things I do every day. One of those things is putting underwear on. Now, Sheath underwear helps cover my ass, especially in these podcasts, by sponsoring us. And now they can take care of your ass too. Now, Sheath Underwear is a premium underwear. It's not your dad's tidy whities. It's not your old pair of boxers that you got in high school that you should have thrown away 5 years ago that you still wear. It's good premium underwear. Their thing is that you can put your balls and your shaft into a little pouch in the front. Makes you look huge, huger. I mean, it's all you, but it looks good. But it also keeps your balls from rubbing against your legs or sweating. And that skin to skin, it's not a good thing. You don't really want it. And it's a good, comfortable underwear. It looks good. It feels good. And it's functional, and it makes your sack not sweat. So that's something to check out. You can check out their website, sheathunderwear.com. You can enter promo code SPEED. That'll save you 25% off your first order. And I promise, once you get Sheath Underwear, you're going to be ordering more and more pairs. So I'd probably get at least 3 to start, because you're not going to want to wear the same pair every 7 days or wash them every other day. It gets a little awkward with underwear. So, man, it's not a pair of jeans. You can't just get away with wearing the same pair of jeans 4 days in a row. Underwear, you can't do that, no matter how much you like them. So check out sheathunderwear.com, and you can use the promo code SPEED and save yourself 25%. I guarantee once you start wearing them, you're not going to wear anything else. I don't. So there's things you never want to do in the car world. You never want to not buy a car because you're afraid of the maintenance costs, and you also don't want to be fearful when you buy a car of driving it because you don't want to break it. Two of those things, it ruins the ownership experience. So how do you fix that? Well, there's a company called eAuto Warranty, and eAuto Warranty will sell you a warranty. You pay monthly just like you would for your car insurance, and it relieves the stress and anxiety of having a big maintenance repair. And that's something, I mean, they cover the smaller stuff too, but obviously that doesn't keep you up at night. The stuff that you're concerned about is a pilot bearing failure or something that everyone talks about as a possibility. And you're like, ooh, I don't want to have to pay for a transmission rebuild on that. Well, eAuto Warranty will cover it. So check it out. You can go to eAutowarranty.com. You can enter your car in. You can get a free online quote, or you can enter a car you're interested in, or like, oh, one of those Maseratis I've always liked. See what it would cost. It may make sense to you. It may not. But it will allow you, if you do go ahead with it, to sleep easy at night. I'm telling you, the proof is in the pudding here. I had a warranty that I was paying for 4 months, and they covered that means they made $300 off me, and they paid for a $2,400 repair. So it's good. It's nice to have. It's good to have in your back pocket if you ever need it. You don't have to renew it after the first year. You can just do it on a yearly basis. But I'm telling you, once you have it, you're going to love it. And especially when you get your money's worth out of that repair, you're going to be happy you made that choice. So check them out, eAutowarranty.com. You can get a free quote for your vehicle or one that you're interested in purchasing. All right, and welcome back. So we were left off talking about adventure drives, which if you're interested, and I don't know if you are, there is about 6 spots left. So if you're interested in going for a drive with myself, Adam, David Patterson, and a bunch of other really cool people, there are 6 spots. Check out adventuredrives.com, and you can check out the trip, which is 8005. Now, speaking of adventure drives, something I just decided that I'm doing today is I'm going to start doing some local drives. And Glenn can actually
I can go on
coming
some
to something
drives.
that's adventure drives related. We'll start planning maybe one a month, and let's do a drive. Whether it'll always be in the Northeast for the most part, but I think most of them are going to be day trips. Maybe occasionally we'll do an overnight.
Cool.
But just a little teaser, a little bit, just to get some excitement building, give people a little taste of what the quality of the trips that we do is. It's sort of a marketing technique. I figured, let's give it a shot. Where we're not going to make any money off of any of it, but if we're going to spend money in the market, we might as well just invest some time and a couple of bucks and put on some cool local events for people to try out.
Will we have radios or anything, or like any sort of communication?
We do have radios. Because a lot of places you go don't have cell phone reception.
Yeah, interesting.
There's a bunch of cool things that you're going to be like, whoa, that's cool. And I'm going to spoil some of them. You ever go to a hotel? What's your least favorite part about going to a hotel?
Being hungry.
Well, we have food at the hotel. So
You're in luck. They're going to have food.
You're in luck. All the restaurants
I
have
don't know
food.
what is supposed to be my least favorite thing about the hotel?
Probably checking in and getting in that check-in line. You ever go to Vegas and have 30 people in line and you got to stand there? Yeah. So one of the things we do is when people check in with us at our rally check-in, we have you sign all your credit card authorization forms, and we have a couple of groups of staff, and one of them goes ahead and pre-checks you into your room. So by the time you get there, you just see, usually it's Marina, down in the lobby or wherever you park your car. We have a table set up, bottle of water, and your room key, and you go right on your way. You walk right in, you walk right to your room. What's in your room when you get there?
Champagne.
Hopefully
champagne.
food.
No, not food either.
Oh.
If it's a special event or something, we do that. We have like strawberry champagne, stuff like
Okay.
that.
Mhm.
But if it's not a special event, your luggage is sitting there waiting for you on your bed.
Oh, so we don't have to put our luggage in
You
our
don't have to put your
Lamborghini?
luggage in your Lamborghini.
Oh, that's
It's
really good. That's the best.
there's a
sometimes.
luggage truck. The only thing you have to do with your luggage is you have to bring it downstairs in the morning and you leave it with our guys. They put it in the truck. They also go ahead and while the one person is checking you in, the other person is putting your luggage in your room for you. So you don't have to worry about your sports car having any trunk space or
I think
anything
that's
like
better
that.
than having to check in as they take your luggage for you.
Well, no, that's between. I'm talking about what you're okay, whatever. I see what
Yeah,
you're saying.
But okay, I don't understand though. If like they have to get there before you and they have to leave after you, how do they keep up with like all these cars? How's it possible?
Magic shortcut.
Oh,
You take the scenic route.
No, yeah, I mean, we remember we're not just driving point A to point B. We go do cool stuff.
this
So when we're
this isn't a race.
well, no, even
I'm
if it
just kidding, I'm
was,
just kidding, I'm just
but
kidding.
even if it was, it's not, and it's
I know.
not competitive. But even when you go out, we're stopping for lunch. We're
Yeah.
going and doing we're either hot air ballooning or we're doing a hike or we're just taking photos at cool places. The luggage truck goes straight from point A to point B. So even if they beat us there by 2 hours, I mean, remember for lunch you're stopped for an hour. We may not be going straight line. They may take they take the highway. We take the cool roads, and ultimately we've never had a point where we've beaten the luggage truck to the location. So that's pretty cool.
Do you have
Sweet.
like a support vehicle with like tools or stuff if something breaks?
We don't.
Well, yeah, I guess most of the cars probably aren't breaking and needing
Just
tools.
BMWs. They just for
Yeah,
that.
no, we've had a flat tire. Like we don't have a like what you're. I know what you're thinking. You're
Yeah.
thinking that's
I'm,
more like
I'm
a
like trapped in 240 world. Like,
Yeah.
I'm worried. Like, am I gonna have to pull off my intake manifold in the
yeah.
parking lot?
What's coming off? Am I gonna have to
Yeah.
rebuild my diff on the side of the road? Yeah, we don't have any of that usually.
Yeah,
It's-
that's nice.
It's like that's why I chose my GT3 when I went out because it was just like, you know what, this is
A
reliable.
Porsche is very reliable. right?
Porsches are the way to go. Like GT3s. Have you had any experience with them?
Yeah, I drove my friend Matt from Obsessed Garage's GT3 in the Smoky Mountains.
Is it not the most awesome car you've ever
yeah.
driven?
No, it's great.
That's what I love to hear is like car people being like, that's a good car. Like Jimbo, I think would disagree, and Jimbo would be like, that car ain't shit.
I want to
For
hear
a
what Jimbo.
GT3?
I want
For
to
a
hear what he has
GT3.
to say. What do you have to say about the GT3?
I've only seen Rob's. Like when he had the black one with the orange wheels or whatever it was,
Did you
and
drive it?
I I never drove it. I edited a bunch of videos with it. But
993?
No,
997.
997.
or yeah, whatever. But I mean, I've never driven it.
997.1.
My thing is I haven't driven the only Porsche that I'd really consider like a good Porsche that I've driven. I drove a Boxer, which is not really a good Porsche to compare anything to. Like Adam is sitting here like smiling like you fucking idiot. You have no idea what you're talking about. But I drove like a 98 Carrera, which was fun. Not a terribly fast car, not a great car. Rob was also sitting there like you still have no idea what
You
you're
should
talking
drive
about.
my 993 Turbo.
If you want to let me drive it,
I
I'll
won't let
happily
you drive it.
Oh, I
There's
was
no
gonna
way
say,
you
I
drive
was
my
gonna
car.
say,
It's
yeah.
called the
like
Widowmaker?
I highly
The
don't-
Widowmaker, the rear drive, which is the 964, like the bad boys.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
993 Turbo came after that, but
Got
it
it.
was all-wheel drive.
Yeah, but you have a twin turbo. The Widowmaker's a single, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah.
Which has turbo lag that
Yeah.
the 993s don't.
Yeah.
They're twin turbo, yeah.
That's probably what makes the Widows.
Right.
That and the rear wheel drive.
And the rear drive, because you don't know when the turbo's going to kick in, and then you got rear drive.
Yeah, but I mean, there's a huge price range between the Porsches with the GT3, the GT2, the GT1. I don't even know. Is that actually a street car?
GT1's
The
a race car.
GT1 is they do make street cars for the GT1. They're probably like $3 million. If you
Oh,
look up a
those-
993
yeah.
or 996 GT1s.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Ah.
line between the $1 million, $250,000, and $150,000 one, I don't see. Like, I feel like it's too blurred for me. And maybe I just haven't been around them very much, but I just can't see a Porsche, something that looks like a 911 with a bunch of body kit stuff, being $250,000.
But
Well,
that's
the only
great
car
part about
you've
it.
driven is the $5,000 one and the $20,000 one. So how do you know
Well,
how
I don't,
awesome
but
these...
it's just when I look at it, like when I look at a like a Huracan or an Aventador, I'm like, that's a $300,000 car.
You know
or
what?
a
You know what they
$250,000
both
car.
have in common?
Huh.
They're about 10 seconds slower around the Nürburgring than the $250,000 car that's not worth it.
But God, do they look good?
I think he brings up a great point though, because like I think the biggest appeal of the GT3 to me is the fact that it looks like a normal car.
Yeah.
Like
A
It
lot of
doesn't
people
look
like
like
the
a normal.
R8s
I
for
don't
that, too.
think
but
the
to
GT3
an
looks
average
normal.
person, they don't see it as that much different than like a 911. So when you spend that kind of money in a GT3, the average person,
If you get the touring package, if you don't have the big
but
wing in the
even
back,
if
The
it looks
wing
like
gives it
a
away.
911 with a wing. It's not a Lamborghini or Ferrari flashy. Like, and I see one of those and I'm like, okay, that dude's probably like a driver. Like he probably really appreciates drivers' cars. Where like a lot of the other stuff is like usually.
They like track stuff.
I
mean,
feel like
yeah.
a GT3 or just a Porsche in general, the brand has such a driver's
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And the
but I mean,
public doesn't
it's
know
not-
the
but the
difference
public
between
thinks-
a 996 and a
yeah,
991
the
GT3.
public thinks they're all like $80,000 or $100,000
Yeah,
cars,
but not $250,000 cars.
that's my
True.
point. So
Yeah,
I
probably
mean,
not exotic level.
But like I'm saying that.
But
as
as
a good
far
thing,
as
like,
what
yeah.
you're getting
I get-
for
yeah.
a GT3 or a GT2 RS, like, is worth every dollar of 250 grand.
especially because they're turnkey and you can just like drive them
Yeah.
and just change the oil. And
Now they're
Right.
not
Take them on
worth
the track.
$500,000, but
Correct.
they're worth 250.
Right.
all
Like
day
I
long.
used to track Corvettes all the time, and same problems you had, overheating. Well, and mine was
Yeah.
a street car, not a race car. And then when I got my first Porsche, even like a 996, I had none of those problems.
Yeah.
You could drive it all day at the track, red line every gear, and you open the hood, which is in the back, and it's cool. There's no heating problems. Brakes never fade, even with steel brakes. So Porsche is probably one of the few cars, not even just the GT3, any 911 or Cayman or Boxster, you can buy, do a track day, and drive it home, no problems. It'll be bone stock reliable. You don't have to modify it. The brakes will always work. You know, it's a big difference than any car. Like even like Corvettes, you have to change the brakes. You got to change,
Yeah.
you put in cooling. At Porsche, you don't have to do any of that.
What other? I mean, you've driven a GT3. What other like exotic or cool cars have you thrown in the mix there?
I drove like 2 different Lamborghinis. I don't really even remember like what type of Lamborghinis they were, but like 2 Lamborghinis. I don't know, like GTRs, like nothing
Yeah.
nothing really that like really blew me away. The Lamborghinis are cool. They sounded cool.
Yeah, no, the Lamborghini's got a lot of power behind it. I wish I had.
I love Lambos.
Yeah, you're talking to Mr. Lamborghini over there.
Yeah, no, I guess you.
No,
just
you're
got
Mr.
here-
Ferrari.
He
Like,
just now I'm Mr. Ferrari
Now
because
you're
I have
Mr.
a couple,
Ferrari.
but
You used to hate Ferraris, right?
I used to be more of a Lambo guy than a
Yeah.
Ferrari guy because the Ferraris were much less reliable. But as the years went on, now everything's equally as reliable, and the 458's a great car. The 458's the first car that I said was like, wow, this thing is like super reliable for
Yeah.
a Ferrari. And then I didn't like the 430s very much, so I'm hoping to get rid of mine soon. But
That's a good way to get rid of it, telling
Yeah.
everybody you don't like it.
I genuinely don't. I prefer the 360s. Now, objectively,
that's generational.
Now, why do
Yeah.
you prefer the 360
I
over
like
the
the look
430?
of it.
Okay.
It just like, and then I want to have a stick shift 360 because then that gets rid of the. I like the look and the sound of the 360 better than the 430, but I acknowledge that the 430 has like more carbon on it. It's got the carbon brakes. It's
Quicker.
It's quicker. It's got the chain drive engine belt, the chain
Yeah.
drive versus the belt drive, so you don't have to worry about the majors. Although the majors are bullshit to begin with.
For the 430?
For everything, I like
Myth busting right here.
What's
Yeah.
the majors?
the
That's
major.
the,
It's a
like the engine out
3-year,
service, the
15,000 mile
cam
service.
Yeah.
And there's people that do it like even if they like they'll ship their car to the dealership, right? And I think the reason it was done was because Ferrari was a low volume producer and people weren't driving their cars. So how do they get service departments to make money? Because
Right.
the service department's a big portion of a dealership's profit and loss statement. So they just said, yeah, just tell everyone the car needs a service every 3 years or
no matter what the
15,000 miles.
mileage is. So if it's sitting
Well,
in-
yeah, 3 years
yeah.
or 15,000 miles, and that'll at least fill up the service base. Because
Right.
if now people are worried that their car is going to be worth less because they're not servicing it properly, and they scare them by saying like, well, what if the timing belt lets go, and then you have to throw your motor away, and
It's an interference engine, right? with the
it
belt?
is. No, I don't think so.
No? Okay.
I may be wrong. Some viewers out there are like, yeah, Glenn's fucking right. But
Somebody who knows will comment.
yeah, somebody who knows. Will
If we don't
comment, but ultimately, the like you're telling me that the fear tactic is that the timing belt is going to let go,
Mhm.
and I'm like, Honda timing belts go for 350,000 miles. How is Ferrari, who's winning in Formula One, unable to design a timing belt that can stay on a car for more than 15,000 miles?
Right. Well, the NSX has a timing belt. It's supposed to be like every
Yeah,
7 to 10.
100,000.
Well, 7 to 10 years it's
Yeah.
supposed to be, and regardless of mileage. But when I bought, I'm on my second NSX. When I had the first one, which I bought in 95 in 2012, there were 95s that had the original timing belt. So they already had like 20-year-old timing belts. And I bought mine because it was changed every 7 years. And my '05 was already changed before I bought it. But, you know, you could probably go, I'm sure you could go 10 years. But there are cars that have 20-year-old timing belts and that's an interference engine.
Yeah.
Where they haven't, where it hasn't let go. I'm sure somebody's had something that's
I'm sure there's that one horror story out there or whatever, but like it's not a common thing. And that's why even when we were running a bunch of them as rental cars, we weren't doing the services. We were changing the oils. We're doing everything else.
And you had high mileage. I rented F430s from him that had like 50,000 miles on it. And I think they ran good because they were driven.
Ran great. Yeah.
Yeah. And Ferrari also has the Sigma, the Fear you were talking about for every 3 years. The fear is also you have to have it serviced at the Ferrari dealer.
Yeah.
If you have an independent, your car's worthless. You know, the Ferrari dealer had to do all the services.
You need all your service
your stamps in the book. Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know where we were going with this one, but ultimately,
we got sidetracked. We were talking about.
You know, if you get another 360, I want to drive it. That's like the one Ferrari I haven't driven. I've driven the 430, the 458, the 488. The 488, but I never drove a 360.
Yeah, the 360 is just like a fun car. It's not slow.
Is it nimble?
It's nimble.
Yeah,
and it's
like
not,
the 458 is really nimble.
Yeah. They all feel pretty nimble because they're very light in the front end because there's no weight up there.
Yeah.
And they got very skinny front tires.
Yep.
I think they're all 235.
And also very quick steering rack, if I remember correctly. It's like 2 turns long.
Yeah, it's a nice drive. I mean, it does get a little light in the front. Like when you get up to speed, like 140, 150, it starts to it feels a little floaty in the front. Mm-hmm. But it's really.
He would know about those speeds. So.
Yeah, I'm like, whoa, my speedometer doesn't even go that high.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
No.
Oh.
He took my M2 up to 140. I let him drive the M2. I didn't know.
I was trying to do 150.
Yeah, when I saw the video,
I got 145.
Well, I guess my BMW was going like was it 145 or was it 160? It might have been 160.
You did, yeah. In the half mile, you were doing at least 153. So, I mean, you were probably going
Isn't there a limiter at 155 or you had that removed?
No, it's probably gone, long gone.
Yeah.
But just to finish the thought, the 360 is the first, what I would call reliable Ferrari to the point where, even though mine did, if you park it, it doesn't just like break itself.
You had a problem though with a park one, right? Something.
It just the oil was leaking or something.
Is that what it was? Okay. No big deal, just the oil leaking.
I mean, there was oil. It was a rear main seal or something like that. So
your Ferrari oil.
I did the service. But it's like I drove those cars, and the ownership was great. I think I sold the one I bought it, and I put 15 or 16,000 miles on it in 4 years, and I sold it for 5,000 more than I paid for it, which is great. I mean, that doesn't happen in the car world.
You do pretty well with reselling cars, right?
Because I know how to buy them and sell them though. Like I know that.
I know, but you don't do the whole like I'm gonna buy it for almost nothing and you get lucky kind of like.
No, I don't steal them.
Yeah, but you've gotten pretty lucky in terms of value.
I buy cars
getting out of cars
that I know have a value and I can drive them and I know how much I can drive them without really affecting the value. My GT3, I just got a little lucky that the market went up. I sold that for like $6,000 more than I paid for, $8,000 maybe, and I put 10,000 miles on that in 2 years. My NSX, I turned down double what I paid for it, but
you should have sold that car.
Why?
It's double, dude.
Well, my first NSX I bought for 25, I sold for 50.
Yeah,
there you go.
And my Lotus Exige, I got like 10 over on that.
I don't know. I like the car. I like the color, and there's not a lot of them out there. So
there's not many blue ones. I don't think I could sell mine either.
So if you give me yours, I'll sell mine.
Give you yours? I'll trade you. No, I wouldn't trade you for the 430. I'll trade you for the 488.
I wouldn't trade you for the 430. Yeah.
Now, how much is a good NSX going for now? Like
the
ideal
05s are 6 figures.
Yeah,
really?
They're $75,000 for like a decent NSX.
Now, why are the 05s going for 6
last
figures?
year?
It's the last year. They only made 200.
Year.
Like my car probably would be like I have it insured for like 120.
Okay.
Even a yellow 05 sells for like over 100.
Huh. Interesting.
Nice.
Yeah.
But then there's the other side of the spectrum. You can get ones that are like
60.
you can get the other ones. What's like a bottom dollar NSX? Like 40 or 50?
Like 40 for a
45,
good one. For
yeah.
a good one. Yeah, the 91s. And now the original NSX.
They used to be 20s.
Right. The original NSX, they made 8,900 cars.
In the year 1 and 2?
No, total. From 91 to 05, there's 8,900.
How many of those were 91, 92?
5,600.
Yeah.
So most of them. So once they got, that's why they went to the Targa 95. They thought Americans, if you don't have a sunroof or a Targa, they can't sell the car. So the production numbers are very low. So 05 has a very low production, and 01's the last year of the pop-up headlights.
Yep.
So the ones that probably have the best value are 05s or 01s.
Oh, one's have a good
Oh,
value.
one's is the last year of the pop-up headlights, and it was a very short year.
Interesting.
So there's only like a couple hundred. I'd have to look it up.
But
there's-
they were all like made to order 02 to 05 anyway, so there's not a big number of those out there.
Well, yeah, when the last year in 05, they couldn't sell the cars. They had an $899 a month lease for a $93,000 car because they couldn't sell it, you know. Well, the car really
unfortunate.
never changed.
Yeah,
I mean,
over
it went up from a
14 years.
3
Yeah, we made a
right,
video on this, Rob.
from
you
a
know.
3 to a 3.2 and a 5 to a 6-speed and an extra 20 horsepower.
Yeah, exactly.
So
You're
it's
talking, and what was it? It
yeah.
was 290 or
It went
270 to 290?
290, yeah.
That's not a lot of horsepower for a
Yep.
car.
And if you got an automatic, you stayed at 270 with a 3.
There was an
hours for the
automatic
stick.
NSX.
Very few. So the
Okay.
NSX is one of the best cars that 90% of them are stick shifts.
Yeah.
There's very few automatics, and the automatic was hard.
The automatic doesn't sell very well
Yeah.
either. Like
Adam,
it-
did you ever drive an NSX?
Never.
No.
he almost did. I told him he could take it up tonight.
Yeah,
and
If
then
you
we-
drive
do
one,
that
you'll
before
buy
I-
one. If you drive one, you buy one. I always
Really?
bought something different. I bought a Lotus Exige, came and asked some other M3s.
For the
Then when I
few
bought the
seconds I've
NSX,
driven,
I'm like,
it's
shit,
good.
I should have bought this car 5 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish you told me sooner. I wouldn't have brought my truck and trailer.
Yeah, it's not a fast car, but it's just like the perfect handling car.
To me,
It's
it sounds
mid-engine,
like
stick shift, rear drive.
kind of like a rad Miata. Because like Miatas are
Yeah, it would
super
be a
fun to drive.
Miata. If you'd driven an S2000, it's S2000 on steroids.
Yeah, yeah. Or
Yeah.
it's just fun because
Yeah.
it handles really well and
Yeah.
you just smile and
Yep.
look pretty.
And
Yeah, it
it's
looks
comfortable.
really
It looks
nice.
good, and
And I got the brakes on it. Your brakes suck.
Mm.
And NSX guys will
it's
never
the one
say
thing
it.
he's got on me is the brakes.
NSX guys will say like, no,
It
the
needs
brakes
more
are
brake.
perfectly
It's
fine.
not
It
a,
needs
right.
brakes.
If you wanted to track the car, which I wouldn't since it's collectible
Yeah.
now, but if it definitely needs brake. The brakes are fine for driving on the street, but not for track use or.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they'll stop you before you like hit a wall if you're
Yeah.
driving around.
That
town.
car was a little more luxury than like a hardcore like GT3, so that's where I think an area they skipped is the brakes. They
Yeah.
could have easily put
bigger brakes.
Yeah,
But the big brake kit wasn't that bad. I think I spent like $4,500 for the big brake kit on it. It really wasn't that bad with the parking brake, and the parking brake is big. A lot of kits don't come with the parking brake.
oh yeah.
What kind of brakes?
Stop Tech.
Cool.
So it's got a big brake kit on it and like yellow calipers. It looks nice with the blue. I was actually very
Yeah.
happy to see
Well, yeah,
that.
blue
does.
and yellow are opposite colors, so I mean it works well.
So
Blue and orange are opposite colors.
I had
Oh,
blue
what?
and
Oh no, you're
copper.
right. You're right. They are technically those are the exact opposites. My bad.
It's okay, Jimbo.
Any other bad
Then
information
fuck-
you want to feed? To the
I should
podcast?
I should know that too
Yeah.
because I actually spent a lot of time in editing. So
Yeah,
whoops.
that's the only reason I know it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's
The,
M31 right there.
So yeah, there's a bunch of cars out there. The craziest car. Glenn, what's the craziest car you ever drove?
Craziest car I ever drove. I drove the Murcielago LP640
Oh,
stick.
yes.
Nice.
I don't know if that's the craziest car. I
Was
ever
that
drove.
Bolian's car?
Norris
no,
car.
Norris
not many.
car.
Oh,
Norris
Nor?
car. Fastest car I ever drove is 720S. Probably
Fast
one
car.
of my
That's
favorite
fast car.
favorite cars I ever drove is Ford GT. Oh, my friend's got an 06 Ford GT.
Yep, great car.
Yeah. You can see all those YouTube videos on my channel.
Yeah, go
Glenn's
check out
car
Glenn's
collection.
car
But
collection.
if I could have any car and I didn't care about a resale value or reliability, I'd have a 720S if I didn't care about those two things.
Which funny because I think they're doing pretty well. Am I wrong?
The 720S, yeah, they've sold every one they've made.
Yeah, but the resale seems to be pretty good at
Yeah,
the moment,
it's
and
still up
as
there.
does the
Yeah.
reliability. No.
You know, well, the one I drove, base price is $285. The
Yep.
one I drove had every single option, so it was $400. So every one I see for sale is like $350 if you can find one for sale.
Yeah.
And I had no problems driving mine, but I only had a couple hours. But I know somebody who bought one, and he changes his cars. He's got like 100 cars, and he changes them every week. So take this with a grain of salt. But he got a 720S, and he sold it back to the dealer because he said he couldn't get. He said there was one problem after another. Like he couldn't even drive it because the seat was stuck like in the forward position.
Yeah.
So it was a hot car. He got one of the first ones, so maybe they fixed it, and he just got all his money back by selling it back to the dealer because they had a line waiting for them. But I mean, the 570Ss are down at like 150 now.
Oh yeah, no, those
140,
are good
150.
cars. It's like a computer. They
I've
just
driven
drive
that.
really well.
I reviewed one of those, and that you can McLaren. You can do warranties up to 10 years. And I don't know what it was.
I don't know how they
and
do
you
that.
Need it, right? But it's $4,000 a year. Now I don't know about the 720S, but a 570. So if you bought
$4,000 a year is a big number for a warranty.
well, if I bought a 570S, I'd probably get a 2 or 3 year warranty. If I said I'm going to own this
You're
car
gonna
for
spend
3
$10,000
years,
for a warranty.
it's well. How much did I went with you to the McLaren dealer once for your 12C, and the bill was like $40,000.
30 some odd thousand.
Okay,
That just makes
the
you not
defense
wanna-
rests. Case
Yeah, but
closed.
the and that was stupid. The steering rack, like there were some shavings. Whatever, the steering rack went bad. and then it was like a $35,000 repair. And
Well,
I'm like,
Man.
well, it's not like you turned too hard, and we were out, like it was out of warranty by a month. I'm like, I would Goodwill that.
I
Now
would, too.
I ended up having to fix it, and that was ridiculous because I guess the fluid for the steering was shared with the brake line, so like you had to replace everything. And I was like, it got pretty nasty, and I was like, you know what? And I think I rebuilt the steering rack and flushed the system. Cleaned it up, replaced any filters and stuff like that, and it was perfectly fine.
Wow.
So, but it still cost whatever it was. It cost me like probably 2 or 3 months and 10 G's.
Wow.
So
That's insane.
for a steering rack going bad. That's like absurd.
Serviceability is really important to me with cars. Like cars that are designed where you can't fix anything is really annoying.
Yep.
You do plenty of service on your cars.
Well, I mean, I guess in comparison to like some of these newer cars, yeah. But like I feel like I don't. But it's so nice when things are like thoughtfully placed out. To where
Sure.
they're easy to access and you can fix them just like carefully. Like even the N54 on my 335 is such a pain.
Nissans are pretty good about it.
Yeah, I like the Japanese cars. They're sweet.
I almost think they do it on purpose because they want you to go to the dealer. Like
No, I mean, remember, engineers are not like bean counters. Like engineers are guys that are like, all right, how do we make this work?
yeah.
And then somebody comes in there and be like, that's too hard. Or like a mechanic will come in and say like, this is impossible to get off. You gotta move this or something.
Or the other thing is, I think, don't they try to disassemble the stuff once they've built it, and they're disassembling new stuff, so it's not as hard to take
no,
things
because
apart.
you could tell if it's hard to take apart when it's new, it's going to be hard to. Really
Well, no,
hard to
but
take
it might
apart.
be easy when they take it apart when it's new because all the parts are new. You try to do anything to a 20-year-old car according to the way that the books say to do it, and it's like, fuck, that's hard to do.
No, that's how you take apart an old car too.
Okay.
If it's rusted together, that's a different story.
That's kind of what I'm talking about, like a 25-year-old car.
I mean, it doesn't
an
matter
East
what
Coast
it is
car.
if it's rusted together.
Yeah, sure.
I don't really have any experience like working on exotic cars, but I'd like to believe that the companies that have like race teams and design their cars based on their race programs, like the Corvette or the GT3, would be designed to have easier serviceability. Now, obviously, I've never worked on either, but to me that would make sense if they were both like thoughtfully designed and planned, so you could fix the important stuff when it goes bad.
There is stuff I remember is designed fairly well. Like to do a cam swap right now in the new Z06, you have to take the engine out. Not very well designed.
Yeah, but cam
that's not
swap
good.
to me isn't like a serviceability thing.
To take the alternator on my Corvette, there's just one bolt that's almost impossible to get
Okay.
to.
Yup.
So then, yeah,
Like the alternator is pretty easy.
Yup.
I'm talking about the lower bolt on
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
alternator
yep.
holds it onto the head, and it's probably not even really needed. I left it there as a guide, and I didn't get it all the way in. But I remember what a pain in the ass that was, and I gave up after a while. But yeah, like there's people that take the entire front end of the engine apart. They take the radiator off. They do all that stuff just to get to this one bolt on an
Yep.
alternator, and that sucks. Like that's not something you want to do or have to do.
that's not cool.
Yeah, but just funny thing you bring up the cam stuff. On my old C4, people would do cam swaps on those cars without even taking anything like the heads off, or well, they'd have to take
Yeah.
the heads off. But I mean, you didn't have to lift the motor at all. Like you could take it all the way
I
out.
don't think you have to take the heads off.
For
a cam? A
just so
cam?
you can see inside the valley, right?
You don't. No, that's the intake.
Oh, I'm sorry, the intake, not a car guy.
Yeah,
Well,
the,
don't know how to build an engine, but yeah, on the C4s, you could just literally just take the cam out with the motor, not
But
lift it up
you
at all.
don't even have to see. The cam is enclosed in the motor.
Sure, yeah.
So if you take the intake off, you see like the if you're swapping the
Yeah,
the
I'm
rock-
thinking of like the lifters and the
yeah
valley and
if
stuff
you
like that.
if you're swapping for like hardened lifters or roller rockers or something like that, then you would take the intake off.
Sure.
But to do a cam, the cam actually just comes out and goes right back in. So
But in a C5 or like a C6, don't you have to like lift the motor a little bit up so you can actually get the whole entire
you
cam
don't have
out?
to angle it. You just
No?
have to. Yeah, there
Just
is
finagle
room.
it out?
There is room to pull it out, but you have to watch out you don't nick it when you're sticking it in and everything like that.
Gotcha.
But ultimately, it could be done really like if the engine was just on an engine stand, the engine could be together. You just have to crank the engine over so the cam can go in.
Gotcha.
But other than that, you're good.
The hardest thing I remember owning a couple C4s was lowering the car.
Oh god, those cars are
Because
so
I would lower it
fucking
for
low.
track duty. I did like 100 track days with my car. And it was just like, I remember it was the biggest pain in the ass trying to lower it like an
Yeah,
inch.
they're low cars. It doesn't immediately seem like it, but they're not the easiest thing to get on a lift.
Your Corvette's a C6?
C5,
Oh, C5. Okay,
2001.
gotcha. I think that my favorite drift car I've ever driven was a C6 Corvette.
Oh, really?
Just-
You never see those in drift.
Yeah, well, they're gonna start to get really popular as they're
'Cause
getting,
they're
like,
getting
below
cheaper, yeah.
$10,000. Like literally, like an LS 240, but perfect because
Yeah.
everything was designed well.
Nice.
But just like that car,
I have trouble
That'd
imagining.
be cool. I'd love to see that. That would
my,
be
my
awesome.
friend Aaron
Yeah.
Losey from Lone Star Drift just recently kind of built one. I think his is a C6 with like cams, aftermarket knuckles. I think a company called like Vet Nuts maybe makes them. And a
Isn't
handbrake.
Donut Media doing
Vet
like
Doctor.
a C6 build or something?
I don't know, but their stuff's probably like ridiculously overbuilt.
Sure.
Knowing them, I'm just saying like as a simple car that
Yeah,
you
yeah.
do nothing to and go out and drive, it felt amazing.
Gotcha. Yeah, the C5s, they're there's a big weakness with the end of the drivetrain on the C5s. I mean, it's not just my particular, because my C5 has wheel hop, a shit ton of it, and there's just some part that's worn out. But the C6, I think the half shafts were pretty weak.
the output shafts.
Or the output
But
shaft.
that's only if you drag race the shit out of it. You have to launch hard.
No, I
on a
think in
sticky tire to
particular, like
snap
the half
those.
shafts of C6s were like a weak point or something. Something I read on like forums and whatnot. I don't know, but if he
I mean,
has no problem,
that's the weenie that's going for like a 1.2 60-foot. That's like these fucking cheap ass half shafts. It's like the car's not supposed
It's not
to
made for that.
launch
sure,
at
sure.
8,000 RPM, and the factory red line 6,500. You're launching at 8,
Yeah.
like on a 28-inch tire. Just not the way it's supposed to happen. But
I want to see a C6 drift though. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I
I've
think
never
that
seen one in
I think
person.
that would be sweet.
But I've seen them on videos. They move fast, man.
It doesn't really look that cool because to me that the cars don't really have much like drift style. Like there's no like wide body kits or anything for them.
You
But
put the yellow headlights on, they look
But
good.
it looks like it just they make so much grip that they're just so fast. Like
Yeah.
it just looks absurd.
Yeah, in the videos that I've seen with them, I mean, I see normal, like, you see the 240s, the 350s, whatever, drifting. But every time I've seen a C6 on like a preview for Formula D, the thing looks like it's moving.
Yeah.
Like it looks really, really fast.
Yeah. And but what I'm saying is like if you take like a stock C6, like,
Just stock.
it's gonna be like stock with like knuckles and
Yeah,
hammer.
yeah, sure.
It's gonna
Give it
it's
angle.
gonna be like almost the level of those pro cars.
That's great.
Yeah. It's
Cool.
I want one.
nice.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely.
Are
a
they
much
really
better,
that
yeah.
cheap? They're not down to $10,000.
They're
yet,
like
right?
14.
No, they're not.
Like,
I think they're
I'm
still
talking
20
like
grand.
I'm talking like rebuilt title, like
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
you're talking like salvage car.
flood damage.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, like repaired, like salvage title,
for drifting, it's
130,000
Yeah, why
miles,
not? Right?
and people don't realize too. Like people are, oh, it's fiberglass, it's gonna get banged up.
No, who
Just
gives a
buy
fuck?
buy a new fender. Like,
Yeah.
they're super cheap. It's like $200.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
That's
And
cheap?
the
Wow.
whole rear end just bolts right on.
Yeah. The C6s are
amazing.
great for that. Yeah.
So I think C5 is the same way too.
Yeah,
right?
the whole back end is just one
It's
piece.
amazing.
Do you Zeus clip the front bumpers on, or you just zip tie? Not even
I
just
zip
zip
ties.
Okay.
I think that's a style point
Well,
too,
no,
right?
the nice thing about zip ties, and this is like a common misconception
They
about
take
them.
10 seconds.
No, is that like if you have a fiberglass bumper, rather than your bumper falling off and breaking the fiberglass because it's like bolted on or you have some sort of crazy fastener, the zip ties just break.
They snap. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the bumper's still intact.
Sure.
So that's the logic for it, kind of like as a
Right.
breakaway,
Yeah,
rather
yeah,
than
like a quick
as like
release,
oh, I
yeah.
don't feel like putting
Yeah.
this on.
Yeah. One of the things I kind of regret when I bought my C5, I ended up like as I went through the process of buying, I was like, okay, I'll buy one for sub 10 grand. Then I was like, oh, I'll get one for 12 grand. And then soon it turned into, I'll buy one for like 15 or 16 because I wanted a modified one. Biggest mistake I possibly could have made. But at that point, I might as well have just bought a C6. And I didn't think the C6 was that much better of a car. And then I drove one for like 5 minutes. I was like, holy shit, this is a much better car.
That's what every modified
And the
car
C7
guy
is even
says.
better.
Yeah, every modified car guy says, like, well, fuck it, should have just bought a Ferrari. Like,
No, I mean, it's not even that, though. I mean, like, it was just a heads and cam car I bought. You know what I bought.
I know
You've
what
seen
you
it.
bought.
But, like, I mean, it wasn't a crazy build. There was nothing really ridiculous done to it. But it did have, like, 90,000 miles on it. The person who had it before me had it for, like, 9 years, and he beat the piss out of it. Like, he really drove it. So
it
I
was
figured,
a drag
oh,
car, yeah.
Oh,
it was
yeah?
a sorted, but I
Drag
figured
or
it's a
track?
sorted, it was a drag car.
A drag.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I figured, sorted
Either way,
car. if you dri-
90,000 drag
Yeah,
miles.
that's what I was saying.
Yeah, well, regardless.
Jimbo, help him.
In my thought process was, okay, if he drives the crap out of this must be a sorted car. Well, obviously I was wrong. So
I understand your logic.
you
and
know,
I've thought that way.
I didn't think it was terrible, but looking at my bank account, it was a terrible idea.
Yeah.
But it
He
is
was
what-
selling it for a reason. He probably like, I got one
Yeah,
more.
Well, no,
like,
he
it's
was
like-
one more launch left in this car.
No, he did my wife is having a baby, and like I mean, it was a legit statement. There was a wife there, and he also had a C6
Did she have a
Z06, so he
big
didn't need
stomach,
two.
or-
Yeah, did she have a beach ball
Believe it or
attached
not,
to her
she
waist?
did. She
Okay,
actually
she did.
did. So like, it wasn't bullshit. But at the same time,
May have been a little
everyone
bullshit.
sells things for a reason. The car needs it doesn't need a rear main seal, but it definitely should get one at some point sometime soon.
That's what the definition of needing something
Shh,
is.
no, it
Well,
doesn't
what does it need,
one.
Jimbo?
It
How
doesn't
much?
need one. It just
Okay,
leaks
how
oil
How much
out
money
of the,
does it take to fix it?
Okay,
rear
as
main
it-
seals an
grand
engine
or-
out.
Rear
it-
main seal's a pain in the dick. That's
That's
a big
where the
service.
clutch mount, because it's a front
The
engine.
clutch is in the back. And
No, the
in
clutch is
C5.
against the engine in front of the torque tube. So
Oh, it is? No, I
thought
thought it was in
clutch
the
was in the
back.
back.
No, the C5, the
it's
trans is
it's
in
the
the
trans
back.
axle, right? It's the diff. It's got the diff and the trans in the back.
no, the
Yeah.
clutch is all the way up.
Really? Just
Yeah.
the clutch?
I've got photos of me installing.
Okay, then
one.
you know-
I think
the-
I think the C6 is in the back because my friend just
Yeah,
did it.
one of
in
those is in the back.
C6.
But they have like the no,
The
they have
clutch-
the
The
same.
C5
same
is really
remember-
difficult to change the clutch. It's
yeah, but
really.
the clutch
But
mounts
I had
to
a
the
C5
engine.
Z06.
Is that not the case in all cars? Is there a remote clutch
No,
in a car?
I think I could be wrong, but I swear Aaron Losey just had the rear end of his Z apart, and he said, "Well, yeah, while we had it apart, we changed the clutch."
Rob, I think you're right.
Well, yeah, because you have the rear cradle down and everything. You just disconnect the torque tube, and now you're on the. You can ask. Go ahead, pick up the
Am I
phone.
Well,
allowed
the
to pick up the
C5
phone, Jimbo?
You can pick up the phone, Adam. Okay.
The C5 had the trans in the back, right?
The trans.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking.
The
of.
transmission and the differential
The
are in the back of the
transmission
car.
differential are behind. It's equivalent to
For-
driver's ass backwards. So the rear subframe, if you drop it, it's going to take the rear suspension down, and then it'll have the differential attached to the transmission, then torque tube.
This is
Because
a
I
hard
had an
bet here.
I had an 02 C5 Z06. It was lower mileage, but I remember the clutches were really a pain on that because I used to track it. And
you would have the
compared to the
same thing as mine.
C4, the C5.
Actually, no, wait. Now you're confusing me. The engine, clutch, torque tube, or engine, clutch, transmission.
No, it's engine, torque tube, transmission, and diff. You see, the thing is, like, it's hard here because
forget
Rob
now.
is
It's
right
been years since I had
99%
one.
of the time, but
No,
Adam also
I've
drift
changed the
cars.
clutch on my car.
Yes, so,
So, like, I know where the clutch is.
everyone's on their phone checking things.
I remember the clutch was a pain in the ass on a C5.
Yeah, no, C4s are just like a standard, like,
Compared to a
normal
C4.
setup.
Could I change the clutch on the C4?
The
and it
trans
wasn't
tunnel
as
on a
bad.
C4 is hysterically large. Oh my god.
I mean, we could just look at Cletus's car because it doesn't have anything attached to it, so you can.
Or
see
just
through.
call up Garrett, do it.
Here we go. Here's a drivetrain for a C5.
What'd you find?
Da-da-da. We're gonna get an answer
All right,
here.
so this is the engine, clutch, torque tube, and that torque tube goes to the transmission rear diff. Simple
So
as
who
that.
was right here? Was Rob right?
I was right as far as where the clutch is located. You were right as far as where the transmission is located.
There we go.
But in my head, I started asking. I'm like, well, how does the?
That's when you. I was confused when you said that. I was like, why would just the clutch?
No,
be up
I was
front?
like, well, what connects the shifter to the car? But this makes sense. Now that
Gotcha.
I'm looking at it. It obviously has to make sense because that's what it is.
But yeah, either way, C6, phenomenal car. Still dated, very dated. But you put a good head unit in it, it's pretty good to go. Heated seats. The seats are much better in that car than they were in the C5s.
I guess maybe I was just confused by the way that Aaron worded it, because that, like, I agree that would be very odd to have a clutch in the back.
Yeah, the clutch separates the engine from the transmission. Like,
Yeah, and that would be weird to have like the drive shaft just like kind of fixed, connected to the engine.
yeah, and then you have this whole rotating mass that doesn't have to be rotating.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this is the part that confused me. Like, well, like usually, like I think of like a Mustang where the shifter goes right down into the transmission. So, but anyway, yeah, let's take it at that, where we all just fumble around pretending like we're having a car talk and we have no
We
idea
don't
what
have a
cars do.
fucking clue what we're
Yeah.
Don't
doing.
listen to us.
Hey, what does that spark thingy do?
If you
But-
guys enjoyed listening to us pretend like we know about cars, and talking about stuff, and having no idea what we're talking about, just go to any car show.
Hey, go to any car show and ask a dude about his car.
Yeah.
Hey, go to the guy who's wearing the brand of the
Supreme.
manufacturer.
The
Of
clothes,
He's
his-
wearing
yeah, of
Supreme.
his
He has a
shirt.
vape in his hand.
Yeah, if he's got a Viper shirt and a Viper, you want to talk to him all about his car.
It's so funny how Jimbo just like you like two different demographics and two totally different
Yeah.
tax brackets of car we just talked about.
Nice.
But you know both.
Oh,
so
yeah, no,
you
it's funny.
completely know what I'm talking about. But
So-
anyway, yeah.
Cool, guys. If you haven't checked out Glenn's car collection, please do so. Glenn's car collection on YouTube. If you haven't checked out Adam's
blur
channel, I'm sure you know Adam's channel. Adam LZ. The LZ stands for his last name, and he's got a cool channel. He does a lot of. He started with BMX. Started with BMX, moved over to cars, and now he does pretty much drifting in cars primarily. I don't see very much BMX on there at all, right?
Nope.
So he went the way of the dark side, and that's the funner way, I'm telling you. Tires are more
Funner,
expensive
yeah.
for cars.
It's more gooder.
It's more gooder. But
expensive.
definitely check out his channel. He's every day, right? 7 days?
Oh boy, I'm like barely every other day right now.
You can
Every
do
other
it.
day. He's toned it down a little bit, but he's built quite the following. What do you call your fan base? Do you have a name for him? Arnie's Army
Hey,
or
guys.
anything like
I
that?
don't
Nothing.
have- yeah,
They're guys.
Just guys.
Just guys.
Hey, guys.
Go interact with those guys. Check him out. Hell of a driver, and I'm looking forward to some more good times with him this year. And he's got some fast cars. Obviously, he took home the prize in January, and that's no easy feat. We've also got Jimbo's channel.
Jimbo.
If it hasn't been demonetized and taken off of
You're
YouTube yet, I don't think he's done anything on the channel.
Not
and
yet. I got stuff coming though.
It's been what, 5 weeks?
It's 5 weeks. Yeah, I think so.
It's been about 5 weeks, but that means there's a lot in store. So
Damn
check
straight.
out Jimbo's channel, subscribe, and there's a lot of good stuff coming our way, guys. We're coming your way, so from us. So keep it tuned in to all the channels. Thank you for watching the podcast. If you're not subscribed to the podcast on Super Speeders podcast channel, be sure to do so. iTunes, Shout Engine, the works. Catch you next time. Thank you to the sponsors, and we'll see you later.